Awesome. I think we should get started.
All right, let's do it. So, thank you so much for everybody that's joining us on the live. Happy holidays from all of us here at Align. We are so grateful to be able to be sharing the gift of health with you and so many of your loved ones around the country. And we've just expanded internationally. So, I guess around the world, our mission is being shared. So, it's really an exciting time for us to be able to do the work that we're doing.
Absolutely.
And I actually, should we kick it off first with a giveaway for those people that are actually on time and joining us live? What are your thoughts? You want to do one?
Sure, let's do one. So we're gonna do one of the first giveaways, and you guys are lucky you have a good chance of winning. So you're going to get a EMFU hat or EMF harmonizing hat. It actually protects you from Wi-Fi, dirty electricity, 5G. It's quite amazing. If you go on our Instagram, you can see it demoed live. So you would have like a EMF meter that's going crazy. You put it over it and it goes to zero. These are super important, especially now with everything that's going on and all the frequencies that we're inundated with every single day. So the first person to put EMF in the comments gets the hat. So there you go.
Go, go, go,
Go, go, go.
go.
First
Maria
person, first
going.
person. There you go. Hey, there you go, Maria. Congratulations. And
Oh,
stuff to you. We have two
all right.
different hats. We have this one, the aligned AF, and then we have the regular hat, and you get to choose which one you would like. So
So,
just let us know. And we have someone in the background that's going to be taking that information along with your address. So
yeah. So we know
very
where
cool.
to ship to you.
Yep.
All right. So without further ado, we have our head researcher from Scientifica Consulting joining us today, all the way from Florida, where he said it's getting dark right now.
Orlando.
All right. Dr. Francisco Cedral, thank you so much again for being on this journey with us. Your knowledge and expertise is indispensable, and he is going to be sharing with us today how stress, short term and long term, affects our physiology and how during the holidays, which happens to be a very stressful time for many people.
Is it?
Is it
I don't think
the
so.
most wonderful
It's the
time of the
most
year?
wonderful time of the year. There's no stress. What are you talking about?
How to help us
So,
stay regulated when we're trying to keep all of these plates spinning and all of this gift giving going. So if you're not healthy, you can't be with the ones that you love. So without further ado, we'll let Francisco take it away. Thank you, sir.
well, thank you everybody for being here and the interest. I think this is this. We were talking the other week, and then we were saying like before we start talking about going deeper into all the benefits and everything else, maybe people should know a little bit more about what happens to our physiology, on a regular basis when you're exposed to all these pollutants and everything else. And then we start with the thing that hits us the most, and it's like an epidemic, like it's happening every day, everywhere, which is stress. All the natural physiological reactions that we should have, and what happens when they turn chronic. So I thought I think that's like because this is an educational webinar, that would make a lot of sense. So I'm going to share that with you guys, and let me share my presentation over here. And I think I can make it go play in window, and you can see it as a whole in full screen. This is good. It is, right?
Yeah, we can see it good over here. The only thing, maybe the top right corner, is that the
Yeah,
presentation?
we can see your slides there. Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Full screen.
Why don't I see the rest of the view? Play. Oh, play slideshow. How about now?
There we
Better?
go.
Perfect. There you go.
Okay, very good. So yeah, that had gone somewhere. I didn't see it. Sorry about that. So stress less during the holidays and beyond. I think that's the name that you came up with, right?
I think it's
That
very
looks good.
fitting for now and all times.
Yeah.
For
How do we
sure, yeah.
integrate this into our life?
So, for those of you that don't know me, this is a little bit of my background. I'm a naturopathic doctor with a master's and a PhD in neuroscience and a postdoctorate in health sciences. I'm a professor in neurophysiology and integrative medicine. I've been doing this for quite some time, and I was the co-founder, one of the co-founders. We were two back in the day of the lab of experimental neuroscience at a university down in the south of Brazil. The university is still going on. It's we have a lot of students with more than 200 and something, 300 81 scientific publications came out of that lab. I'm still a professor there, and I supervise students going through their master's in health sciences. I'm associated also with the Lab of Neuromodulation and Posturology at the University La Sapienza in Rome, in Italy. I'm a professor at the master's program of functional medicine there. The university is also very well recognized. It's been around since 1303. It's one of the oldest universities in Europe, and the health and wellness and the medicine program, functional medicine, is very strong. And I'm also the co-founder of the Integrative Wellbeing Institute in the US, where we teach various things along with functional medicine, functional longevity, we call it. So I'm the CEO of Scientific Consulting and the CEO of the Integrative Wellbeing Institute. And so here's just a little bit about myself. So we're very familiar with stress. There's and acute ones, short term, is very beneficial. I mean, we wouldn't have survived as a species if we didn't have it the way that it is designed, physiologically speaking. That's a situation like the one here that we see in the picture, this lady running from the bear, you know. So it's the famous and the traditional fight or flight. The problem is chronic, persistent stress, because that over at immediate reactions are very good because stress is designed to give you enough energy and to give you all the necessary means, physiologically speaking, so that you can survive a situation of a fight or a flight. But chronic stress is the problem. And the brain doesn't know, and it doesn't really matter to it if the stress is a real situation like running from a bear or if it's just opening an email and then you're seeing a situation where like it's a bad message or you forgot to do something, the same physiological reactions happen, and then they happen once, twice, three times, four times, five times, how many times during the day on a regular basis. And then that's going to cause persistent dysregulation and starts with your brain. Then it goes into affecting your autonomic nervous system. And then from there on, your body composition, and you develop a lot of symptoms that we like to call medically unexplained symptoms because they're not really a pathology or a disease, but they're present, they're there. And sometimes you go to a doctor and they say, oh, it's just stress. Well, it is. It is, but you can do things about it. You can actually measure, and then you know what's happening. Here's some of the examples, and it could be anything. Information overload generates stress, and that changes your physiology, affects your physiology immediately. Life changes like marriage, divorce, whatever it is. Financial stressors, I mean, very common one nowadays, right? Psychological, social, environmental, emotional, physical. And the job is I think, is one of the most common, because you go through stressful situations the whole time. And the problem is when you get back home, you get home to another predator, right? Either your wife or your husband, and then it's another situation again. So it never stops. It's a global trend. If you see here in the numbers, 6 in 10 workers report rising workplace stress. The highest is in China, but in the US is not too far behind. Australia, 91% of adults feel stress.
We lost the audio.
Okay, how about now? Is it back?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Got you.
So it's very prevalent. And so here is it's a little bit too much maybe, but I just wanted to give you like a quick overview of what happens in your physiology. In red, you see one of the triggers, which is sympathetic activation, adrenal medullary axis. Chronic activation has to do with chronic sympathetic activation, and then there is a whole cascade of things that happen in your body, and this all has to do with generating more energy, focus, concentration, so that you can deal with the situation at hand. And then on the other side, you see the HPA axis getting activated. And then what happens with chronic activation? Dysregulation of cortisol. dysregulation in your immune system, dysregulation in everything, because it's not really necessary to be where your body shouldn't be spending resources in immune defenses and digestion and philosophy, thinking about different things if you're running from a bear. It has to put all your resources into running, into fighting. And that's what generates the problems, you know. So here is in a nutshell what happens. Chronic stress starts to immediately affect your brain function, and I'll show you how. Then from there, autonomic nervous system, and those two things happen instantaneously. It's very fast, those two, and then you start to develop over time. If this is chronic, you have to. That leads to body composition changes, and I'll show you how. And then medically explained symptoms appear, in the midst of all this, and form the basis of all chronic diseases. Because those alterations, those things that change over time, they're going to lead to all the chronic diseases, and I'll show you what it is. So that's why we say that chronic stress is a leading cause of cardiovascular, metabolic, depression, neurodegeneration, and so on and so forth. Basis of chronic diseases. So here's the first thing that happens. Imagine a situation where you're running from a bear or you have to fight, to survive. The first thing is this frontal part of your brain that is responsible for thoughts, for actions, for emotions, for regulation, for everything else gets deactivated. It's not important for survival. You don't need to be thinking about mathematics, philosophy, strategy, or anything like that. You just need to run. The part of your brain that has to do with responses, with reflexive actions, with running, with everything that is involuntary, like in fast, is the part that gets activated. And that, as you see, there is a little bit of a link to the autonomic nervous system, right? So imagine if you have this happening a series of times every day, then this initial part of your brain, this most important part that plays this very important role in cognition and behavior, thinking, emotion, social skills, personality, movement, starts to get less blood and less oxygen metabolism. So it's on a regular basis during the day. Eventually, what's going to happen is people are going to start developing brain fog, difficulty concentrating, reading something, and then they get distracted. Why? Because on a regular basis, this part is not getting enough blood supply and oxygenation as a survival mechanism that is triggered by stress, because that's very important for survival. So the energy resources that the brain is consuming is not going to be guided towards this frontal part. And that's the first thing that happens. So we do analyze this physiologically speaking. We have near-infrared spectroscopy devices that measure that. And I would say that 95% of the people that I see, the levels are very low in comparison to what they should be. And this is because of stress. And if you remember that little connection between this part that modulates, it's called the top-down regulation that controls, a lot of our actions and thoughts and everything else. It's connected to the autonomic nervous system. And as you know, the autonomic nervous system has a crucial role in body regulation, including heart and circulation, your breathing processes, digestion, and this is so important, and stress and recovery. If your body is fight or flight, it's not in digestion and recovery. So how can you do a good job in terms of rebuilding your muscles, digesting your food, extracting everything that you need, regaining, not even the sleep. Like during the night, people have high levels of cortisol because of chronic activation of the stress system. The cortisol levels goes flat high. And then during the night, you wake up and then you're thinking about everything. You're not sleeping well. You're not recovering. So this is the problem that we have nowadays, is that it's messing up with your prefrontal cortex and then dysregulating your autonomic nervous system. On the left, you see a normal reaction. When you have like a mild stressor, you see an increase in sympathetic activation that is meant for you to help you survive. And then parasympathetic decreases, which parasympathetic is the one that has to do with the rest and recovery and everything else. After that situation, parasympathetic rebounds, and then your body goes back again into rebuilding, into digesting, into recovering and everything else, and sympathetic decreases. That's the normal reaction. The problem is stronger stressors and then happening on a regular basis. Then you have a strong sympathetic stress response, and then you don't have that rebound back. You just continue in constant sympathetic activation. Parasympathetic decreases its activity, and then you have failure to return to normal, and that becomes our normal physiology. Pardon this old picture, but this was like a marker in the physiology showing that there is an alignment between the HPA axis that is activated by this system and the sympathetic nervous system, so they're aligned. And then you see that during the night everything decreases, you relax, and then during the day you have that peak in the morning, and then it decreases. The problem is, with chronic stress, you have a disalignment of this circadian rhythm. If you see in the cortisol activity in this window over here on your left, bottom left, you see in green, you see that the curve of cortisol goes up in the morning because you're waking up, and then decreases during the day and is very low during the night. Now imagine chronic stress activation, chronic activation of cortisol. This is not going to go like that. It's going to continue straight, even through the night. And then people wake up in the middle of the night. They can't relax. They can't sleep. If this continues like this for 3 to 6 months, depending on the person, then you're going to start depleting this process. And then your body's not even able to generate that anymore. And then you go into the other line that is in the bottom. That's called flat low curve of cortisol. And then that happens, people wake up in the morning like tired already. They don't have enough energy, not even to do anything, because they already been in a cortisol flat high for so long that the body's now in a depleted state. And then the problem is cortisol is catabolic. Cortisol, if you heard the expression, oh, this is eating at your muscles, it literally does that. It starts eating at your muscles, and then it starts to affect your body composition. If you look at the upper left picture over there, there is the melatonin is the opposite curve of cortisol. It should go very low during the day and then high during the night. But if you have a cortisol high, flat high, like that, and then you go into the night and then you take melatonin, the combination of the two is a very nice recipe for cancers. So you shouldn't be taking melatonin to sleep. You should be reducing your cortisol levels and stress, bringing it to circadian again. And you see that it's involved in a lot of different processes that has to do with inflammation, cellular inflammation, pro-inflammatory cytokines, inflamed cells that continue chronically inflamed. So we have disalignment of cortisol, chronic activation of the sympathetic, decreased blood oxygenation and metabolism in your prefrontal cortex, and you don't sleep well, you don't recover. Over time, this is what's going to happen. Your body composition starts to alter. Why? Because, like I said, cortisol is catabolic. It starts to eat at your muscles, so you lose lean mass because it creates a whole bunch of acidity problems in your body as well, also because of the food that we eat and all that. Then you have like an acidic environment, which leads to a decrease in the position of calcium in the bones because it needs to buffer the effects of the acidity in your body. You lose muscle mass, you lose bone mass, and you're generating those high amounts of energy to fight or to flight, but you're actually not even running or doing anything. You're just sitting in front of your computer. What happens with this energy and the glucose and everything else that is circulating in your body? It goes to being deposited into fat. So intermuscular adipose tissue and between your muscles, and then your muscle fibers get to work less effectively. And at the same time, you have the position of ectopic fat. So you develop, syndromes that start to affect your body composition, altering your fat mass, altering your free fat mass, altering your muscle mass, your bone mass. And then on top of that, we don't hydrate nearly enough, right? And you start to have the position of intramuscular adipose tissue. So the whole situation that we have leads to what's called osteosarcopenic obesity, which is a loss of muscle mass, a loss of bone mass, infiltration of fat inside of your muscles. That's called intramuscular adipose tissue. Then you have chronic stress. You have systemic inflammation generated by this. You have increased oxidative stress, and all this leads to this syndrome. And this syndrome, with loss of muscle mass, loss of bone mass, and deposition of fat, is called osteosarcopenic obesity. It's the new index that we assess, and then we can give you a precise number. And that tells us where you are in the progression from healthy to aging faster than you should to having like the start of chronic diseases. This is the basis of everything. And it has a direct relationship with stress. That's why it's so important. People don't realize it. They know, oh, it's bad for you. Yes. Well, a little stress is good. Well, depends. Chronic stress is the problem, and we are all subjected to it. 80%, 90% of the people going through this process. You can do a lot of different things to modulate it, and then this is what we want to talk about. But I just wanted to alert you to how serious this is and the extent of this. And then you start to have all of these things: fatigue, mood disorders. Think about it. Do you have more than 3 of these? Fatigue, mood disorders, insomnia, drowsiness during the day, anxiety, apathy, no energy to do anything, or panic attacks, abnormal heartbeats, excessive hunger, hunger pangs, heartburn, IBS, constipation, cold hands and feet, altered perspiration, bad mood when you wake up, feelings of unjustified guilt, or lacking experiencing pleasure or relief, or significant weight loss or changes. If you have more than 3, you already have medically explained symptoms and you should check your stress levels. Maybe you're already going towards an osteosarcopenic obesity and then development of chronic diseases. And I pretty much bet that probably everybody in the call has it. So, that's how serious this is. It's an epidemic. And this is the problem. You know, if you go in, people say, oh, I just want to do a pill and then get it solved or do a surgery. Nobody wants to do lifestyle changes. But how good is it if you take just a little pill, right? It doesn't do it. I mean, maybe it has like a little bit of an effect right now, but it's not going to change your physiology long term. You need to engage in lifestyle changes. And people seem to not like that very much because it's troublesome. You have to analyze what you're doing and you have to change certain things. But guess what? If you don't do it, then you're going through osteopenic obesity and then chronic diseases. And that's it. And so we need to talk more about lifestyle changes and things that you do to change this complex situation. The other problem that we have is that we're always focusing on the symptoms, right? Or even if you go to a chiropractor, you go to a naturopathic doctor, you go to an acupuncturist, you go to integrative complementary practitioner, and a lot of the cases, the mentality is still the same. There's still symptom management. The whole program is focusing on isolated dysfunctions. I have a little problem here. So instead of, I have an ankle problem. So instead of taking a pill for that, I do a laser therapy, but it's still very segmented. You're not looking at the whole picture. You're not looking at the physiology. This type of intervention, even though it's complementary and integrative, and it's not a drug, so at least it's using your internal mechanisms to provide some relief, but it's not true restoration. You have to think in terms of lifestyle, of functional longevity, right? We have a very serious problem nowadays that is we have extended, and I like to say that every time, we have extended our lifespan significantly. We live much longer now, but our health span is terrible. The last years of our life are terrible. That's when you should be enjoying. When you have your money put aside, you have time to spend with the kids and grandkids or to travel or to do different things. You can't because you can't move. Everything hurts. You don't, your health is terrible. We need to shift from looking at symptoms to looking at the whole physiology and then to look at lifestyle changes. And the only way to do it is personalized, is predictive. You have to think beforehand, preventive. You have to start doing things before you have the disease, and you need to identify the root causes, which has to do everything to do with our lifestyles, and then track those biomarkers and then restore your physiological coherence so that you can live longer and better. That's the way that you do it. And it's a complex network of interrelated factors for health and longevity: stress, aging, hydration, exercise, nutrition, chronic inflammation, medically explained symptoms when you're somatizing those bodily distresses, the circadian rhythm, emotions, general. You have to look at all of these things. So you need a good professional and or you need to start introducing those practices, you know, start drinking more water, start exercising, start adding technologies and different things that are complementary, integrative, that are going to help with management of all of these. So here is one of the technologies, and that's why we're here, right? Alignment is one of the technologies that we can use, but you can't just use it once, you know. And why would you use it? Well, first of all, because there is reported noticeable stress relief within minutes. And remember, stress management is number one. You have changes in heart rate variability that has to do with adaptation of the autonomic nervous system. That was the second step that we talked about, right? And then sleep. I'm going to go over this a little bit more, but stress management. So make this part of your routine. The second part is the benefits is that listed up top is sleep quality. If you don't have good sleep quality, you don't have recovery. And if you don't have recovery, then your day is going to be bad. And then stacking that one on top of the other, then eventually, you know, this is going to catch up to you. And the interesting thing is, if you look in the picture on the left, you see that when we are younger, we go more often, and it's also at the beginning of the sleep, we go better into deep sleep, right? And then as you're getting older, then we don't do it anymore. We don't go into deep sleep, and the big problem with that is that only during deep phases of sleep we have the activation of what's called the glymphatic system, and the glymphatic system during the sleep, it only gets activated in deep delta sleep, right? Which normally doesn't happen when you're getting older. So you need to do things that are going to help modulate that and help you get into deep sleep. And we have shown that already in the previous webinar that we get a lot more deep sleep when you do the Align Mat, right? So that's one of the tools that we can use for that. During the sleep, we think that our brain is asleep. No, it's working as a kidney. It's draining all those toxins. At the activation of the what's called the glymphatic system that does all the drainage of all those toxins that are produced during the metabolic, activities during the day. That only happens during deep sleep. And then we've seen in some case reports that when people do the Align Mat, either during the night or during the day, before they go to bed, they go into deep sleep, deep delta, that activates lymphatic system and helps your brain detoxify during the night, right? But you can't do just once. Do that once a week. No, it has to be a part of your routine. Yes, every day. That's what I mean. You have to do it every day, every day. Like, what good is it if you do, for instance, a meditation, and then here are the impacts that you have, and that has already proven that you do when you do a meditation, you have structural brain changes. Your brain, you have cortical thickness increases. Your brain increases in size physically. The amygdala regulates, which has to do with like pain and anger and reactivity. There is a regulation of that part of your brain. There is enhanced connectivity and neuroplasticity. There is changes in neurotransmitters in your brain doing meditative processes, but not. It's not just if you do that just once. You have to do that on a regular basis for at least 8 weeks. Then you start to see all these benefits. When you're doing an alignment session, you shouldn't be like reading, doing your computers or doing your emails and checking everything, and then still activating your stress system while you're doing it. You should take it as a meditation. You should relax. You should do the session calmly, follow the breathing, just like the lady's doing over here, or laying down, or whatever it is that you prefer. But take that as a part of your meditation routine. And you do that on a regular basis, you're going to have all these benefits over here. So that was what I wanted to share with you. And I think I did good timing because I had half an hour. So now we have some time for questions.
Amazing. Thank you all for joining us. I see some more people have hopped on the call. So I want you to take a moment I know some of you joined us on our first call as well, or have watched the replay from that. If you have any questions for Dr. Francisco regarding anything short-term and long-term physiological stress in the body, I mean, we covered a lot, and this
It's
is
scary, isn't it?
Yeah,
It is
it's definitely
scary.
scary. I mean, like, it's definitely eye-opening. I mean, like, if it's been eye-opening, put in the comments eye-opening for you. I mean, like, there's a lot of functions that, if you don't get good sleep, if you're in a stress response, if you're stuck in fight or flight, like, you do not function properly. So it's imperative to have your health and your stress levels a lot lower, but your health up. So it's amazing. So if there's any questions either for Dr. Francisco or us, please let us know. This is the time to do it. You get to talk to us live.
And for everyone that's watching, just realizing that a lot of this, like, give yourself some credit for doing a lot of the work that you are already doing. Most of this is happening as a product of our environment, which is really challenging, right? We're not asking you to go check out and live on a deserted island somewhere and not have any technology. But, when someone's put up, high voltage power lines and a 5G tower in your front yard, a lot of these things are not able to be modulated just by you wishing that they weren't there. No one's going to give up their cell phones and their computers that we're all tuning in from various parts of the country on. So how do we have tools, and we consider an alignment a modern solution to a modern problem to help us mitigate and modulate the stress that we are under consistently 24/7?
Right. Because we're getting more detached from nature as we go on, because we're in these beautiful boxes. We have more fancy foot coffins, right? And we're not getting our feet on the natural earth, the ground, the surface that we are resonant of. So it's important to do that for your life, your health, and longevity. So
All
It's
right.
not only that, it's our reaction, is the way that we react to things that happen. Like it's sometimes the situation is, we need to understand it's out of our control, and we can't
right.
modify other people's behaviors and other things. Like, and on the clinical level, like a lot of times patients come in and they say, "Oh, it's my life is this and that and blah blah blah, and my problem is my husband." So it's not your husband. I mean, it's the way that you see what your husband is
Perception.
doing, because you're having difficulty assimilating that situation,
Right.
right? And again, our brains, like if it's a shadow or if it's an actual snake that is going to bite you, the brain reacts the same way, right? We just need to introduce techniques to help modulate this physiological reaction, because this is meant for our survival. All these things that are happening that I described over here, they are natural and they should be happening in this chronic stress. But why are we putting ourselves through this situation? You know, like when stress really like creates a bunch of glucose and energy for you to deal with the
Right.
situation, it's very good. It was a very valid tool for survival. The problem is we're putting ourselves through this chronic situation the whole time, the whole once, and then we're not doing stress management. You know, if you do your alignment sessions, and then when you do that in a relaxed way, I mean, I've seen people doing integrative and complementary therapies at the same time with the computer or the phone like this. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Your brain is still stressed the same way.
Yeah.
Like you have to do these things on a meditative state, and then you see the physiological changes happening in your body. And it can't be just once a week or twice. What good is that? Like, oh, I exercise. Yeah, I exercise once a month. Does that make sense? No. It has to be on a regular basis. The same with these techniques. Avoid everything else. Concentrate, react, relax, and then take that moment, for yourself.
And
That
this is
has to be a lifestyle change, right?
Right.
And this is
Right.
what we're seeing in the research, also interacting with our users, is it's so profound and powerful when someone can feel their state has been amplified, whether, we talk a lot about people getting stuck in traffic, getting off a stressful phone call, and they take 60 seconds. Literally, they don't have to know how to meditate or do breath work or any specific practice, but they put the technology down, they get on their mat and take 60 seconds and shift their nervous system state out of fight and flight, and it puts them back into that rest and digest mode almost immediately. So this is really, again, a tool when you have a lot of other things going on in your lifestyle, as a re-education to your nervous system on what it's like to be in homeostasis. So,
There you go.
so we have,
Well, we do have a question in the comments, and I think it just came in. I hope, thank you very much. And I think this is a Dr. Francisco question, is what numbers do you use for sleep? I think I have,
hey, Maggie.
oh, I'm sorry.
They're exactly the same between the version 1 and the version 2 controllers. On your P programs, the OSRM programs, it's just P1. So P1 is 1.2 hertz. It's very low and slow, producing delta brainwaves. It's matching those delta brainwaves. And Dr. Francisco can confirm this. Delta brainwaves are between 0.5 and 4 hertz. So that very
It's
low.
so important. Remember, your brain detoxifies during this process. If you don't go into deep delta, you have neural inflammation. That leads to cognitive impairment, which leads to early onset dementia, which leads to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's scary. Just by
It
doing
is.
that. Just by changing stuff in your environment, you can make it so much better and you can be more resilient human. And that's another thing too. It's like resiliency, right? You're building up resiliency, but also having that perception shift too, like that mind shift. It's like, well, what's stressful to you isn't stressful to other people's. We just have a cascade of chemicals that happen when we see something that's perceived as stress. And it can be someone calling you that you don't want to hear from. It could be an email that, you get some alarming information and it's just like running from a tiger, and it downregulates your nervous system just as much as you're running from a tiger. So it's important to also be resilient, and you can really be resilient with the alignment. It really helps you and train your brain and your body, your nervous system to do that more efficiently. So it's an amazing tool. I mean, we use it every single day. And I have a story that I want to share with you. It's me being vulnerable. I mean, like I used to have severe anxiety and depression. And, there's a lot of things going on, holidays, everything. I had the first panic attack that I've ever had in 15 years. I don't know where it came from, but that's how panic attacks work. You don't know where they come from. They just happen. And I was like, what is going on? My heart's racing, my palms are sweating. I was like, what is happening? Why is this happening to me? There's nothing going on perceivably in my life. And then I got on the Align mat. I put it to 1.2 and within minutes. And I'm not even lying just because it's our technology, but within minutes, Alyssa even can contest to this. I was back to normal. I was brought back to a homeostasis. And that was such an eye opener for me too. I knew that our technology was good, but then when I actually experienced it for myself, and for people going through these anxiety, these panic attacks, they're not fun. It's no joke. Some people have these, they don't know what's going on in their body, think they're having a heart attack, they'll end up in the ER. So, I mean, your body is a beautiful thing and there's telltale signs, but I mean, if you have a technology to help you combat that, it's even better.
There we go. And I know the presentation is scary. That's meant. I mean I just wanted to give you the truth. I mean this class we need like the whole weekend and the master's program in functional medicine to cover, because we go over every little detail and everything else. But I just wanted to. This is so serious. It changes our whole physiology. Those events. And so we need to recover from those. So do things to relax on a regular basis is extremely important to our longevity, functional longevity.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, to lighten it up a little bit, we'd love to spread a little bit more holiday cheer, and thank you all for joining us. I guess so close to the holidays. You could have been anywhere else in the world and you chose to spend an hour here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That means a lot.
Those of you that joined us early got a little bit of a jump on this, but we're going to do one more giveaway. So if you want to type in the chat to win a free EMF blocking hat, type holiday in. The first person to type in holiday in the chat.
Go, holiday, first person, holiday.
Oh,
Lavonda.
Wait.
Oh, did we get somebody?
Who got on the jump?
Oh my goodness.
I think Maggie got her.
Oh my good. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Maggie. You know what? You're both gonna get hats. How about that? You guys were right there, neck and neck. So you both guys are gonna get hats.
Yeah.
Of course. No, thank you. And it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And Dr. Francisco Cedral is amazing. The way that he just delivers information is bite-sized. It's amazing. It might be scary, but it shouldn't be scary. You shouldn't be scared. You should be prepared for these things that are going on with your body. So we just appreciate every single one of you that are on this call with us.
I see Maria's hand raised. Is that accident or you have a question? If you have a question, you can unmute and ask.
Yes.
I don't want to put you on the spot. But
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
Hi.
It's great to be here. I'm so glad that I happened upon the email at the right time. So,
Yay.
I've had your Align mat since last Christmas, and I'm one of the New Jersey users.
All right. Okay. I'm not hating on New Jersey. I was born in New Jersey.
South Jersey, PA, Philly. I'm in the Philly
The
girl.
trifecta, yeah.
So, how long does it take? And I know that this is not definitive by any way, it's just an approximation, but that it's possible to get that homeostasis back so that I'm going to use myself, so that I'm experiencing more times of that homeostasis as opposed to that elevated, activated, dysregulated place. I mean, I can, like, on the outside, I mean, I'm able to keep it together. I'm able to do all that. However, this long-term stress, and I mean decades, right,
Mhm.
of has taken a toll. And I want to undo it. And is that possible? It's like I'll wake up tired every day for decades. I mean, I can't remember when I haven't woken up tired. So, how is it possible, do you see, that to be able to get in that place of homeostasis as a way of life rather than the once in a while?
Mhm. Yeah, it is. It is for sure. We've seen a lot of cases very well documented with the methods that we use, including, of course, stress management, integrated complementary therapies, hydration, exercises in the right time, so that you get your system back to circadian. That's very important too. So everything has to be like well thought out. And then one of the most important things are these stress management techniques that you use. Align mat is one that's very good. Another one that is phenomenal is breathing, respiratory biofeedback. So if you combine the technologies and then you're doing like a proper breath work, and there are specific ones that are going to modulate, for instance, vagus nerve activation, which is a 5-2-5.
Right.
There are other ones that are better for sleep, like a 4-7-8. There's breath work or respiratory biofeedback, I should call it, is a very effective technique, but you need to do it like 2-3 times a day, and then you need to do it together with other relaxation techniques like the Align mat that's going to give you that support. And so there is a whole science to it, but it's possible. Like we've seen cases of 80, 90-year-olds that after 3, 4, 6 months they go back, they regain bone mass, muscle density, and everything else with the proper technologies. And they also involve, of course, lifestyle changes. That it's always has to be there otherwise, but it's possible.
Thank you. Just one more quick question. I'm a spiritual director. I do my work from home, and sometimes I'm on Zoom, or other times I'm on the phone, right? It's can I've gotten into the habit of sitting on the mat when I'm doing my appointments. And I'm just wondering if that's defeating the purpose, or that's a good
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
good thing,
Yes.
that's putting me in a good place to really be that
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can talk to that firsthand. And I know that there's other healers on this call too, which is amazing. So being on the Align mat, being in the homeostasis where you can open up those channels,
Yes.
when you connect to source, you have the energy to do that when you otherwise wouldn't when you weren't on the mat. And it's night and day when I'm either on a Zoom or a call with someone I'm working with, or if I'm there working with them in person, because they have the energy, I'm getting the energy, and then our channels are open to receive. right? So when we have more energy, we have more energy to help the people that need to be helped. So yes, absolutely. Sit on your aligned mat. It's funny, we actually had another practitioner that said, you know, she put her big toe on the aligned mat and she could feel it when she was when she was on podcasts or when she was doing
Right.
her
Just touch.
session. So
And does it have to be skin on the mat?
No.
no.
Okay.
So it goes through your clothes. So think about the earth was our original PEMF, a recharging pad. And the biggest issue is that, again, we're in these beautiful boxes, but we're completely disconnected from natural earth surfaces. Now, you live in Jersey and it's the middle of winter. You're not going to go walk around barefoot and lay naked in the grass somewhere. So
No.
the aligned mat is a substitute for that. So you can do this and ground in the comfort of your home and find that regulation. And then what's so beautiful about low intensity PEMF is now you can use your devices in a situation where you are tapping in. I mean, obviously, we're not proponents of anyone being workaholics, but if you can work and be in a regulated state by leveraging the mat as a tool, absolutely.
Thank you so much for this.
You're welcome.
Of
Thank you for your
course.
questions. I'm sure, I
Thank
mean,
you.
we have, again, a lot of practitioners on the call as well, so this is definitely helpful for them as well. If anyone else has any other questions, now is the time. Mike wanted us to let y'all know, we're doing our holiday sale right now. So if you want to let your friends and family members know that we are offering 20% off site-wide on the sale through the 17th, which will allow us time to get it to you before the Christmas holiday. So
Yeah, that'll be the 17th. So we have a lot of cool new products that are on our website now. We have our new quantum medallions, which are amazing, which are stainless steel and brass, and they have incredible stones that are from the Kingman mines. So they're actually
Kingman,
black-
Arizona is like only an hour and 45 minutes from where we're at right now. So we actually can go source the stones directly.
Exactly, but they're beautiful stones. So we have something called purple turquoise copper, which is a very heart-centered stone, very protective stone. And then we also have a black turquoise copper as well. They look amazing. So check those out on the site. We're doing 20% off. They're brand new launches as of Black Friday. So definitely catch those sales. The hats, the mats, everything is 20% off. So, and I just want to let you guys know.
Thank you all for joining us this evening, wherever you're tuning in from. We hope you have a happy and healthier, more stress-less and regulated holiday. And we hope to see you all again very soon. We'll be continuing to do these lives into the new year. And yeah, so
Thank you.
we'll
All right.
see you next one. Thank
Happy
you so
holidays.
much, Dr.
All
Francisco.
right, happy
Happy holidays.
Thank
Pleasure.
you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you so
Bye.
much.
Welcome.